Families Defining Their Social Problems by Kareem Antonio Ross. Social problems are the general factors that affect and damage society. A social problem is normally a term used to describe problems with a particular area or group of people in the world. Social problems often involve problems that affect the real world. It also affects how people react to certain situations. System blame versus person blame outlook. System blame argues that societal conditions are the primary source of social problems. The system blame approach creates a balance, placing fault on social conditions and the government. For example, families with single parents tend to struggle more than homes with two parents. Person blame ignores the strains that are caused by inequalities within the system. It makes it harder to initiate change in economic, social, and political institutions. And they put all the blame on the individual, leaving the government faultless. For example, parents never finish school, so parents don't emphasize the importance of finishing school, which leads to dropouts, dead end jobs, and recidivism. Recidivism. Unemployment is widely regarded as a major social and economic global problem. Without work, families struggle. They begin to fall behind on bills that were hard to manage when they were employed, sadly forcing them into a position they have to depend on government assistance. System blame approach. The government doesn't provide enough jobs for the amount of citizens they have. This leads to structural unemployment, which forces individuals to be out of work. They want to maintain the status quo. Person blame. Some individuals don't have the necessary qualifications to pursue better work. America feels that if the individual puts in the effort, then they will get a better result, also known as the phenomenon of survival of the fittest. A remedy for this problem: a greater percentage of taxpayers' money going towards government unemployment programs, an increase in jobs, and less offshoring. Single parent. In a family where there is only one parent taking care of a child or multiple children, there is more pressure on the parent to find an acceptable balance between financial and child rearing obligations. Depending on the circumstances surrounding these households, the imbalance sometimes leads to inadequate parenting and social problems for the children and parents. System blame approach. The government doesn't supply the amount of jobs they need to upkeep their population. They lack the support of aiding their citizens. Person blame. A parent who came from a low income family with minimum education, possesses no qualifications to secure a well paying job, who also is taking care of several children at the time alone. A remedy for this problem: the government could supply a sufficient amount of jobs to balance out the unemployment rate in its society. They can improve welfare programs that would sustain single parent households and increase minimum wage to help the young parents as well. Juvenile delinquency. Society places a heavy burden on families by assigning responsibility for children to parents. Families must transmit values to lead children to accept rules that they are likely to perceive as arbitrary. It should be no surprise, therefore, to find that family life bears a strong relation to juvenile delinquency in America. Person blame approach. In this case, the parents or the child is blamed for negligence and held accountable for unavoidable situations their children got in. A common term that is used is deviant behavior. System blame approach. The American criminal justice system has dealt with juvenile offenders in a way it never did before, by treating them like adults who are responsible for their actions and must be isolated and punished for their crimes. A remedy for this problem: increasing The funds for families, counseling for those who aren't able to afford it without government assistance, more after school programs. Poverty. Families who are unable to achieve a minimum decent standard of living that allows them to participate fully in mainstream society. One component of poverty is material hardship. Although we are all taught that the essentials are food, clothing, and shelter, the reality is that the definition of basic material necessities varies by time and place. Person blame. Unprivileged people are poor because they make bad choices and are too lazy to work themselves out of poverty. System blame approach. Poverty is a structural phenomenon. From this viewpoint, people are in poverty because they find themselves in holes that the economic system fails to deliver an adequate income. A remedy for this problem: increasing the wages and increasing a more low income housing. Domestic violence. Within some families, domestic violence occurs whether that be from the parent to children or parent to parent. This plays a huge part in the adolescents growing up. Some grow up violent, bullying in school, and later on become violent with their significant other. Person blame approach. When the victim is blamed for provoking the abuser, system blame approach, a systematic cultural problem of toxic masculinity. A remedy for this problem: counseling for the family and rehabilitation for the abuser. Absent father. This problem affects families by leaving the mother and children tremendously because, for one, the mother has to play both roles, and two, the children don't have a father figure to look up to. Person blame approach. They made a choice to proceed in having a child with a father without fully knowing the history of that child's father. System blame approach. The tough legal system, whereas fathers who made decisions when they were younger are held still accountable for them in their adult life. A remedy for this problem is lessen the consequences of the choices they made in their adolescence life.